I'm Eric Bischoff. And you are watching WrestleSlam.
Eric, we have the whole team here. This is like Christmas for us because we're all massive fans. Every week we're talking about your podcast and our shows. Everything Eric Bischoff always remains a topic on our shows. So thank you for joining us today. So before we start firing our questions and have a good interview, I just want to ask you, how has life been since Hall of Fame? It's been a crazy couple of weeks and you never stop. You're always on the go.
Yes and no. I mean, I'm back to my rhythm here in Wyoming. Pretty much in control of my schedule and my life, so it's all good, man. It was a pretty crazy couple of weeks, but it settled down real fast, and now I'm just back to my day-to-day life. Nothing special.
I love it. How was the Hall of Fame experience? We were all watching it back here in Ireland. No doubt there was a tear in a lot of our eyes. It was truly deserved, but obviously you were pleased to accept it.
It was great. Thank you very much, by the way. But it was a great experience. You know, anytime that I get to kind of visit with people who have been a big part of my life and a big part of my career for an extended period of time, it's always great to get back and see them. And then, you know, to be able to, you know, experience that, the ability to visit along with the fact that it's for the WWE Hall of Fame was it was a very special couple days for sure.
Awesome. Now, the team are excited. We've got some great questions. We're going to try and ask you questions that have never been asked before. There's no
good luck. I don't know, man. You guys got your work cut out for you.
Yes. So I'm going to pass you to Jor first of all. So Jor, be my guest, my man, and good luck with this one.
Hey, Eric, how are you?
Good, my friend. How are you?
Good, thanks. I just want to go into podcasting. You've been doing it a couple of years now. I just wanted to see how you actually ended up getting into the mindset of changing from being on TV and doing media and going straight into doing podcasting, and how you feel about it at the moment.
That's a great question. And I have not been asked that one quite that way.
Yes.
So right off the bat, we've got a winner.
My life set.
You know, it took me a while. You know, podcasting is different. It's long form. It's not a 2 or 3 minute promo. You know, it's not a 6 minute segment. You know, it's sometimes 2.5 or 3 hours. And storytelling and reacting and creating interest in all those things that you need to do to be successful, I think, in podcasting, you have to take on a different form, different pace, different structure. So it took me a while. I think I'm just beginning to figure it out, honestly. I don't think I'm good at it. I know there's a lot more to learn. Let's put it that way.
I really enjoy it. 83 weeks is pretty good. We do our batch cooking every Sunday morning for the week, and we always have a podcast. And 83 weeks is on every couple of weeks. We always pull 2 or 3 hours of cooking with 2 or 3 hours of 83 weeks. It's a good way. It's a good way to start the Sunday morning.
That's pretty cool. My wife and I do something similar when we like to cook on the weekends as well. But I tend to want to listen to classic rock and Rolling Stones and Jimi Hendrix and all that. My wife tends to want to listen to other forms of entertainment. So we sometimes fight over the music, but we're doing the same thing, man, listening to what you enjoy, and we enjoy cooking. So it is a fun experience.
Yeah. Do you think you'd ever bring it up, once the world reopens? Would you bring 83 weeks on the road? Would you ever bring it to Ireland, actually, even to Cork here?
Oh, sure. I don't know about Cork, but definitely we would come to Ireland. And there's some early, very, very, very preliminary conversations about that. I think it's going to be another 6 months or so before things really open up enough in the UK. Here in the States, things are really opening up fast, but it's different. We don't have people as densely concentrated in the entire United States as perhaps you do in England, or in Ireland, UK in general. So everything's different, but hopefully within the next 6 months or so, we'll be able to get back. I can't wait.
If we get to the Cork, we'll bring you to the Jameson distillery. We'll get you a tour of the distillery, get some Jameson before you go back home.
Okay, we'll be going to Cork.
I love
See how easy I am?
There you go.
I love it. Tim, on to you, my man. You've got some great questions for Eric.
However, Eric, it was I actually met you in Orlando a couple of years ago.
I think we both had Jameson that night because we were both fairly hungover.
I'd like to say I remember it, but I kind of don't, which is probably why, because you and I did meet and have a couple Jamesons.
And my question for you is, back in the day, there was a lot of wrestlers that had creative control and it caused a lot of issues backstage. Do you think it's a good idea at the moment in AEW, there's 4 executive vice presidents who are talent and could it cause clashes amongst them when they end up booking each other and booking for the championships?
Well, first of all, Tim, you said there was a lot of wrestlers who had creative control back in WCW. Who might those have been?
Hogan, Hall, Nash.
Hall and Nash didn't have creative control.
Oh, didn't they? My mistake.
No, they did not. Now they did have to clarify. They did have language in their agreement that gave them meaningful consultation, meaning they were guaranteed to have a conversation with me, and it would have been a meaningful conversation. But a meaningful conversation and creative control are 2 different things, and they did not have creative control. Hulk Hogan had creative control, and he only used it once. So the creative control issue was not an issue, even though people like to talk about it, and it's part of the narrative. And so I know there's a lot of narrative, and a lot of people have reported that there was creative control, and none of those people know what the fuck they're talking about, to be honest with you. So it didn't create an issue in WCW. Okay. As far as AEW goes, as far as I know, Tony Khan is the one that's calling the shots. Look, you're always going to have conflict, not necessarily negative conflict, but people are fighting for attention. They're fighting for TV time. They're fighting for promotion. Competing, not fighting. And anytime you have that level of competition amongst high caliber people, it's going to get challenging from time to time. Whether you give them a title of executive vice president, or whether they have something in their contract that says meaningful consultation, or yes, indeed, if a bunch of people had creative control, that would obviously create a lot of challenges. But I don't think the challenge that people are talking about really exists in AEW today. That's my guess. I'm not behind the scenes, so I could be dead wrong. Exactly, but I know enough of the people involved, and the little bit that I know about AEW from the inside, which is not a lot, but a little bit. Tony Khan's calling those shots, and as long as Tony Khan's calling those shots, it will be challenging, but it will be manageable.
Excellent. And also just one more on the NWO. The NWO was so successful in WCW. Do you think it was a big mistake, WWE revamping it and bringing it back?
Well, it's never a mistake to try something, but I think the creative and the design of that creative was really piss poor going in. And look, any movie, any book, any television show, hell, any song you hear on the radio, for that matter, if it starts out shitty, it's probably not going to succeed. If it starts out weak, it's probably not going to succeed. If it starts out nonsensical, it has an even less chance of succeeding. So the idea, the broad concept, was probably not a bad idea.
Yeah. Hey, how are you doing? Me and myself and Jerry actually met you in New York when David Arquette was fighting and kind of threw him. You're right beside your table. The lads were fighting and they're throwing each other through tables.
Oh, that's right. I remember that.
Yeah, it was a brilliant time. No, but I wanted to ask you about 2002 because me and my brother always had this thing where, your debut where you kind of appeared in a backstage skit before you went out live. We were just wondering why that happened, because it should have been a surprise.
Oh, I mean, I can't tell you. I didn't plan it. So I can't tell you why.
For years, we found that very strange. Like, we were always talking about it. It was bizarre.
Yeah, I mean, look, again, I wasn't there. I wasn't part of the discussion or the creative or anything. So I don't know who came up with the idea or why they wanted to do it. I couldn't answer that. Yeah. I think in fairness, there's 2 ways one can look at that. You can look at the reveal of me backstage going into a commercial break, you can look at that and say, wow, that really took away from the surprise. Yeah, that might be true to a degree. You might also say, holy smokes, that's a great way to hold on to the audience, because what happens when people watch television, they're like trained fucking SEALs, and I'm one of them. As soon as that commercial break comes on, I'm checking something else out. I'm looking at my phone. I'm seeing what's on the other channel. I'm whatever. My attention goes away from whatever it is I'm watching. And the odds of losing viewers in commercial breaks are fairly high, even for good shows. So I think the idea was, let's tease them just enough to hold the audience through the commercial break so you get the biggest number and the highest rating possible for that segment.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that logic. And what you're really faced with is kind of like, okay, which is more valuable? The surprise or a surprise with a tease going in?
Yeah.
And there's probably no right answer. So you flip a coin to make a choice.
My brother was saying to me, we always talked about, it was like, that was very strange. But also, that period of time was such a good time because every episode used to end on a cliffhanger. It was just so much going on. I was just wondering, did you have any input on which wrestlers went to which show?
On SmackDown and Raw?
Yeah. Like, did you get an input? Like, did you want certain wrestlers on whatever show you were on?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that was, Paul Heyman had, when Paul Heyman was the director of SmackDown and I was the director of Raw for about 15 or 20 minutes. It was actually about 4 months, but yeah, we were kind of going back and forth and, meeting between the two of us and trying to figure out, which wrestlers made the most sense. And of course, Paul had his favorites and I had my favorites, and we were able to kind of work that out, and we'd present it to Vince McMahon, who would ultimately make the decision. But usually if Paul and I agreed, then I think for the most part, there weren't too many changes.
I used to love your I'm going to knock you out. Every week it was just so cool, really well done. I loved it going when we were in the back of the limo when you're with the lads at the end of SmackDown. It was really, really, really entertaining. You just don't see any of that kind of TV anymore.
Yeah, everything's different, man. Everything changes. Who knows? You may see it again. What's old can be new again.
Yeah, it was just so entertaining to watch because you couldn't wait for what was going to happen next week.
Thank you.
Right, Matt, over to you, my man. Matt's a massive fan as well, Eric.
Hey, Eric, I still haven't met you in person, so I'll just get that on and done with. Hopefully the questions I'll ask you will be questions you haven't heard of. I was going to say box is a brief, but I thought that's way too professional. So like you said, everything changes. Film, music, and entertainment is changing, especially sports. I would say that wrestling is changing every day, every year. I know a lot of people would say that somehow the 90s are better than the wrestling now, but I feel like the wrestling industry in general is expanding with different companies and different talents. Would you see that that wrestling will be expanding even more with more companies, more shows, and even maybe have you on board with any of the future made companies down the line?
I have really no interest at this point in getting back full-time in the wrestling business. Just not interested in that for a variety of reasons. Not because I don't love the business, and not because I'm not excited to see it grow, and not because I don't think I have something to offer, but my life is different now than it was 20 years ago. I don't like to travel. I've got other things that I'm really interested and passionate about doing. So full-time wrestling is not going to happen. I don't think wrestling. I think in many respects, wrestling is in better shape. It's bigger and more prolific as a form of entertainment today than it probably was 15 or 20 years ago, because wrestling has, the WWE over-the-top network, the WWE network, which is now the Peacock network, or WWE content on the Peacock network. In your case, because it's in Europe, it is still the WWE network. that was a cutting edge move at the time that the WWE did it. And as a result of doing it so early, the WWE Network is one of the most successful over-the-top entertainment platforms in the industry. So while maybe the television ratings are going down a little bit for a variety of reasons, you know, the number of viewers experiencing the product on the OTT platform or the WWE Network is, you know, 1 million, 1.5 million people a month subscribe to that. That's pretty fascinating. You look at the fact that the WWE website, the social media website, is probably one of the largest entertainment websites on planet Earth. You look at the footprint for WWE television programming, and it's all over the world. So in many respects, wrestling is healthier, even though the ratings that everybody focuses on so much are down. AEW is experiencing a great deal of success on TNT Network. If they continue to grow, and that's a big if at this point, but if they continue to grow, and if they continue to grow, I'm sure that they're likely to get more opportunities for more programming. Well, that's a very successful situation. So I think, yes, you could suggest that wrestling is healthier now in some respects.
Eric, we've saved the best for last. The queen of Sports Matters and the queen of WrestleSlam, Elizabeth. It's the final one. Lads, if you unmute and leave Eric and Elizabeth talk. So she's got some great questions for you, Eric. You will enjoy these, okay? So do check it out.
All right. I look forward to it.
It's my turn. It's my turn. Hi, Eric. Lovely.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. You know, the day started off a little shitty, but it got better. So, yeah, but I'm good. Yeah, so no pressure, Jerry. Thanks for the intro. No pressure. Yeah, so something a little different compared to the other questions, Eric. I would like to know if you would be interested in taking part in a quiz with Liz.
Oh, hell, why not?
Good thing. I knew you'd say it. So, Eric Aaron Bischoff, welcome to Quiz with Liz.
Thank
This
you.
is a series of quick fire-ish questions where I will provide 2 options from which you can choose your answer. Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Excellent. Okay, so here we go. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Steak or fish?
Fish.
Beer or wine?
Beer.
Scotch ale or Buffalo Bill Cody beer?
Scotch ale all day long.
Jack Daniels or Jameson?
Jameson, come on.
Just double checking. You're doing good so far. Neat or on the rocks?
Neat.
Good man. Dessert or cheese board?
Cheese board.
Good man. Do you know what? Come here, I found a friend here. Attitude era or PG era?
Attitude.
Kenny Omega all the belts or Kenny Omega no belts?
No belts.
Good man. The Dead Man or American Badass?
American Badass.
Oh. Pay-per-view or house shows?
That's a tough one, pay-per-view.
Right. Okay, cool. Queen of the Ring or makeshift tag teams?
Queen of the Ring sounds fun.
Absolutely. Meet and greets or media?
Meet and greets all day long.
Excellent. Raw or SmackDown?
SmackDown.
NXT or 205?
NXT.
SmackDown or NXT?
SmackDown.
Well, Stadium Stampede or WrestleMania cinematic match?
Say that one again.
Stadium Stampede or WrestleMania cinematic match?
I'll go WrestleMania. This is a cinematic match.
Fabulous. High flyers or storytellers?
Storytellers all day long.
Yes. Ted DiBiase or Cameron Grimes?
I got to go with Ted.
Yeah, absolutely. And the last one, this will show if you are a pro for Quiz with Liz. 83 weeks or WrestleSlam podcast?
I got to go with what pays the bills. 83 weeks.
You can be forgiven for that one. Eric Aaron Bischoff, you have passed Quiz with Liz. Thank you very much.
Love it.
I am proud. I am humbled to be an approved contestant on Quiz with Liz. This is awesome.
The very first.
The very first one. So you've set a super high bar because I think we agreed with all of your answers, and we'll let the last one slide.
All right. Edit that one out.
Eric, it's been an absolute pleasure, my man. It's an honour as always. Journal Elizabeth will take you on that Jameson tour when you do come to Ireland in the near future.